With Brooke Allen. Today is our 40th episode. I can't even believe it. We are broadcasting live from the My Michigan TV studios in Troy, Michigan. And if this is your first time joining us and you're wondering what we're all about, this is a show where we brew up topics from a woman's point of view. And today we'll be talking about achieving healthy beauty. And you may not know that one of Michigan's biggest theater chains offers dementia-friendly screenings. And what questions should you ask yourself if you're thinking about filing for divorce? Also, our Great Lakes Made segment involves a very tasty treat. We experienced that firsthand at our After Dark show just a few weeks ago. But first, if you are wondering about our giveaway, it is the accumulation of all things celebrating cars this month. Of course, last week we were at the Troy Traffic Jam. This week, of course, we've got the Woodward Dream Cruise going on, and I'm very excited to be at the Marysville Hot Wheels weekend. So we've been collecting very cool things throughout the month, and the winner will be announced on the September 9th show. So all you need to do is like, follow, and share to win a bag of swag like none other. And of course, Jason will have a hint as to one of the items coming up at the end of the show. Well, we are kicking off this show with our Healthy, Wealthy, and Wise segment. And we all want to look and feel our best. And I know personally, it can be a struggle to look good. Come on, let's face it. But even more importantly, to feel good. And the Cato Clinic addresses dermatology, immunology, allergy, and rheumatology needs all under one roof. Dr. Rachel Cato is, this is a one-of-a-kind clinic, the Cato Clinic. And it was founded by sisters, right?
Yes. So just like you had the Mayo brothers who revolutionized surgery, we have the Cato sisters. We're all products of the Metro Detroit area. We wanted to invest in our own backyard. And what we're doing is we're taking medical care and we're making it comprehensive. Instead of it being siloed out, seeing each individual specialty, which could take months, you see all three of us on the same day, and it really is going to revolutionize the way that people are going to take care of themselves.
Well, you know, what's interesting too is when you do have to make appointments for something,
Yes.
and you have to go from, you know, a lot of people are like, you know what, forget it. I don't need that appointment. If it's going to take me 3 months to get in, and then I have to go from one doctor to another,
Yes.
it's not, you know, it's a waste of time.
And you're also having this issue at hand for 3 months uncontrolled, and that's terrible for a patient to have to go through and experience. Just from you know, a mental health standpoint, you feel at your wit's end. And so to have an alternative, and that alternative to be in people's backyards, we know that it's going to make a splash.
So how long have you been established?
Only about a couple of months.
Oh, okay.
So all three of us combined forces in the past year. We all left different institutions to kind of pursue this motto and goal that we wanted. A little known fact from the families, we actually hold the world record for the most physicians in a family.
I have that in my notes because I read that and I was like, how is that possible?
There's 9 of us, 8 of us went into medicine, and so it's really awesome. When we're having dinners and I have a hard patient, I get to really pick somebody's brain about it, and I tell them, like, what do you think? What should we be doing? And so I naturally started just like having private conversations with Jessica and Ruba, and we all specialize in different aspects of the inflammatory process. So I tell everybody, if you go to our clinic, you see triangles and pyramids everywhere, because when I was practicing medicine, I always thought I was practicing correctly, but I always viewed everyone as a triangle. And now, being with Ruba and Jessica, doctors Ruba and Jessica, everything's a pyramid. And you have it's very hard to have that perspective, but you have two other people who are working, and we're all equally talented within our fields. And giving each other that perspective is something a patient will never have. So it was a lot of hard work the last maybe like 20 years that we've been practicing, but in the last 4 or 5, we realized we can make a difference by investing in ourselves and pursuing this path.
So healthy beauty.
Yes.
Right? I know it's all the rage, right? People are talking about, Botox, of course. I mean, there's so much out there. But healthy beauty is kind of, I assume that means beauty from within.
Yes,
right?
exactly.
And if you're healthy inside, then you're
going to have beautiful
skin,
it,
right?
Yes.
Okay.
And so you think about foundation, building blocks. You have to have the right tools. You have to have the right foundation to produce the best version of yourself. And a lot of times what happens is, and this is just medicine in general, you have these symptoms and people are treating the end result instead of really attacking what that main focus is and how it's being presented in multiple different forms. And you're like, oh my gosh, this is the way that we should be treating and evaluating. So it was a philosophy that we did, and a lot of things that we'll talk about is just what you put in your body. So what you put in your body is going to translate differently. And we sit and we counsel our patients a really long time. People want to invest a lot in vitamins or different powders to consume.
All the supplements,
yes,
right? That's
right.
a huge market.
Yes, and it was really interesting. The FDA has set out a lot of alerts for us in the last couple of months. So a lot of the products that you're purchasing, they actually, because supplements are not FDA regulated, and so they don't have to A, write the ingredients that are in there, and B, they could put other things that are in there that they don't have to label. So they did this study where they looked at 10 products that they purchased on Amazon, and all 10 of them did not contain what they said that they contained.
At all.
At all. And I'm not trying to instill fear in anybody, but when you have that information and you're a doctor and you have patients who are like, well, tell me what to take, then we're like, eat healthy.
Right.
Instead of
eat some broccoli.
Right. So you're like, let me teach you. You can have a whole tomato, like the red-orange color scheme, and you're like, and that'll help your vitamin C. You could eat a half a cup of baby carrots, and that's going to help your retinol. So it's different things that you can do that you can encompass within your diet that's natural and healthy. And I always tell people, I'm like, powders are great, but if you have real milk, and then you drink powdered milk, right? There's going to be a difference in the nutrition. So it's the same thing too when you're looking at these powdered drinks. It's always important to kind of take a step back, make it as simple as possible. Don't eat what's on a shelf. Don't eat what's in the freezer. Should mold within a couple of days.
Okay.
And that's how you kind of treat your body healthy. And then that will translate into healthy systems and healthy skin.
So, it's interesting going back to the FDA question and the supplements. I mean, people can be allergic to different things.
Yes.
And if those things aren't labeled,
correct,
that could be a big problem.
Yes, 100%. And so they come in, and it's hard to get those ingredients from the companies. It's hard for you to test from them. But, we just kind of go step by step, and we try using some deduction. And that way, it just goes back to kind of handling things in a natural way from an allergy perspective. I'll have patients who will come in and they'll just, they're like, I have sleep apnea, I have bags underneath my eyes, I'm having problems with my blood pressure, I'm now having congestive heart issues. If I see a little kid, sometimes the parents will be like, they have cavities, they're bedwetting, and they'll come in with 6 different medications, each one addressing those issues, whereas our evaluation is, well, the allergy is causing you to mouth breathe. When you mouth breathe, you're snoring. If you're snoring, it changes the electrolytes in your body, and it makes you retain like sodium and have urinary retention. When you hit deep sleep, you'll have bedwetting. That will cause mouth breathing and cavities. What we should do is identify the allergies, put you on allergy shots. And then, you know, when we have older patients, they come in, they're just like, I don't look good. I feel like I look tired. And you're like, well, let's find out why you look tired. We're more than happy to use all of our wonderful devices on you, but you have to make sure you have a healthy body to make the maximum results that you want to get.
Okay, so I'm going to say this word. You told me how to say it a minute ago. Inflammagine?
Close.
Is that close?
Inflammagine.
Inflammagine.
Yes.
Okay, I should have thought ragine. Okay, magine. Okay, so tell me what that is. You said it's going to be a big buzzword.
It is a big buzzword. So a lot of times we'll approach it in our clinic. Dr. Jessica specializes in skin cancers. And skin cancers, when you have patients who come in, we're lucky in Michigan, we have a lot of wonderful, beautiful outdoor activities. We have skiing in the winter and the lakes in the summer. Now, when you're in those different mediums or platforms, the intensity of UV light is more so than if you're just on the ground, right? You have a reflective component, and that reflective component, when people are done skiing, they're like, oh, I got windburned. It's not windburn,
Sunburn?
It's sunburn.
Okay.
And so when you hear stories of melanoma, which is, we're one of the states that have one of the largest centers of melanoma, it's our skiers and our water bunnies, you know, that are like on their boats or skiing all the time. And so you take a step back, because by the time they come to our clinic and they're diagnosed with basal cell or squamous cell, you look and you're like, well, what could have been done, or what is one of the issues at hand? So we talk about UV radiation is radiation. And radiation causes inflammation. And that inflammation might look to everybody as wrinkles or sunspots, but what we see is damaged skin cells. And damaged skin cells is what leads to mutations or cancers. So while our patients are coming in, they're like, you know, I have just this lesion here, can you just cut it out? Or this one's recurring. We're like, you have to take a step back. What's happening with your body is inflammaging. Your skin type is different than my skin type, and that's when you introduce biohacking. You're like, how can we maximize the response to your skin the way that we want to stimulate your immune system versus mine? So with our clinic, what's very unique about it is like, you're not going to just get this piece cut out, right? You're like, we're going to try.
Sounds scary.
Well, you know, because you're dealing with a piece of skin that already turned over. You're going to say, listen, we know this one is acting rogue.
So it could happen again, right?
To different parts of your face,
yes.
right? And so what we're going to do is we're going to try cleaning everything up and having that rejuvenation process. And for the first time in medicine, you can have your chronologic age be different than your biologic age.
Okay, I've heard that, but it's true.
It's super fascinating.
Okay.
So your skin can act like, you know, it's in its 30s even though you're in your 40s. And that's through our devices, which, if you don't mind me talking about those, you know, when we picked our devices in our clinic, Metro Detroit area is a very diverse population. We have all skin types, all ethnic backgrounds. And so initially when these devices came out, they were only very specific for light skin, fair skin, because you had to be careful of pigment for like burning or complications. We took at least 3 to 4 years of research to pick out our devices so that you could use it on all skin types. And 2 out of our 3 machines you won't even find in this area because they're internationally known. And we invested in them specifically because everybody should have an equal opportunity to make sure that they have a healthy way of living. And so that's something that we will focus on as well. And then natural stimulation. So fillers out. Like, you know, the natural look is the way that people want to go, and that natural look is going to be easier attained through your own body and immune system. So we find ways to stimulate, and then that way people are just like, oh my gosh, you look great, you look rested, and you're like, I am rested, and my skin's acting like it's 30, you know?
Yeah, I might be so-and-so age, but my skin is 25.
Yeah, and it's so unbelievable. And just like simple things, you know, we don't promote a lot of supplements, but we do really like HelioCare. It's a one that you've been hearing a lot. It's a Ferndale lab, which we like to invest in as well. And what it does, it's a B vitamin, and it actually helps with DNA damage. Okay. So if you have a family history of those skin cancers, we tell everybody, you're like, that's the bare minimum you should do for like supplementation if it's hard. But even someone with my genetic background, like skin cancers may not be something that's common in my like family history, but I'll still take it because it helps with DNA damage. And who doesn't? The less DNA damage you have, the healthier your skin cells are going to be working.
Okay, I'm going to ask you real quick. Everyone knows I disclose this on a daily basis. I love my B12 shots.
Oh, I love them too. They're
okay,
great.
so they're legit, right?
So, you know, they are legit, and
Okay.
what you have to tell everybody is all of them are water soluble except for 4 of them. K, A, D, and E are fat soluble. So we always tell you be careful because you don't want to overdose in them. But everything else, you pee out at the end of the day. So there's not a problem with taking those, you know, as long as you're hydrating well and, you know, you have no problems with urination and stuff like that. But what's important when you think about it is, well, if I'm going to urinate all of those every day, then I actually need it every day.
Every day.
And that's what you have to change for like method of thinking. People have to understand it's not a diet where it's like you just do it for a couple days. It's a way of life. And once your skin, so your skin, the turnover is about like 2 weeks. You start seeing, like think about when you like burn your tongue or you bite your tongue.
Right.
It's like there for about like 7 to 10 days. And so you start noticing those differences within 10 to 14 days. But really, if you stay to it, it's unbelievable within the 3 to 6 month mark. And you just wonder like why you didn't do it sooner.
Isn't that funny? Because it's kind of like, where was this stuff 5 years ago?
I know, I know.
But we still have time to catch up.
I
right?
agree. It's never too late.
Okay.
And I think what's really important is like the phase in life that you're at too has a direct application to what you need. So when you have somebody in their 20s, I laugh, like all the skincare routine that like a 20-year-old
Right.
on Instagram is doing. I'm like, you have youth. You honestly can just wash your face with water and look very
And just
good.
enjoy it, man.
Yes, enjoy it. And then, you know, you then hit, I'm going to talk specifically about women because I think women health is something that's probably not as researched as well as men health. And so for women, you know, they go through their cycle and their body is primed. It's ready and it's at its peak until it has its first kid. And then once you have your first child, your body's like, I kind of did my job.
Yeah.
And then about 3 to 5 years after you have your child, your body's like, oh, we're not having kids anymore. I can now not be at my peak. And that's when women first start noticing aging. They're just like, oh my goodness, I feel like I'm not losing weight as much. I feel like my skin is dull. And then perimenopause, just like how it took 7 to 10 years to have your period, right? Like you had buds, you had a little bit of fuzz, it changed. It's the same thing with perimenopause. And so for the first time, you know, women are coming in our clinic in their 40s and they're like, what is going on? I have acne again.
Right.
And, you know, they want to be put on medications and we say, well, this is perimenopause. And they're just shocked to even hear the word. And you're like, because it's not explained as well. So the nutrition you need during that time is going to be different when you're younger, and it's going to be different during the menopause age. And the evolution that you're seeing within medicine, I think, is because people are tired of medications.
Right.
They're like, there has to be a different way. So the perimenopause, for example, they'll come in, they'll be like, well, I was on Accutane when I was 20. Can you put me back on it? Like, this is ridiculous. My forehead, my cheeks, my chin. And we say, you know what would be even more helpful is if we do radiofrequency on you. And that radiofrequency microneedling will be an organic way of hitting those glands that are causing you problems versus a medication that affects all of your body for this symptom that you're showing me.
It's just like focusing.
Exactly.
Right, it's just the focus. Okay, so you have developed these.
Yes.
So this is healthy skin.
Yes, and so all of our area of research, a lot of it's focused on gut and skin inflammation.
Okay.
And so these all developed in a beautiful, natural, organic way. When I was practicing medicine, I always thought I was practicing the best medicine, and I had a special emphasis with kids with eczema or atopic dermatitis. And so oh yes, please. Many of times we were using like topical steroids, and when I had my own children, they had horrible eczema, and I didn't want to use that medication on them. And so what we did was we developed this white cream, which is the Keto Body Cream, and this helps with skin inflammation. So it's topical, you don't have to worry about anything that you're ingesting. It's safe enough for a 6-month-old, but effective enough for anybody to be using it. And while it's very hydrating, and I would recommend everyone to be using it, if you ever want to test its theory, if you have mosquito bite or poison ivy, put this on there and you will be amazed to how efficient it works. When you use steroids, the mechanism of action, it takes about a week for it to go to full effect. This takes hours.
Really?
Yes. And then we evolved into this black jar, which is the CB2++. The receptor in your body that increases in density when you have inflammation is called CB2, okay? So this CB2 receptor, this cream will help more of the muscle inflammation that you'll have. This Honolulu Blue is for the Detroit Lions.
It is?
Yes. And so they were the best. They helped us like beta test this out. So now we've evolved to some Olympic athletes, NBA teams, NFL teams, and
that's cool.
The best is the Little League teams.
Right.
Like you have moms now that are like, we don't have to use Motrin when our kids are sore. We just put this on right after a shower and they're ready to perform the next day just as strong, which is really, really powerful. And then the last, and you know, my personal favorite one I think is because of our hard work with skin cancer. And we wanted to find something that was helpful for inflammatory stuff but still hydrating for your face, and that's how we developed Keto Face. So these are all patented. We've gotten patents. We've been working really, really hard with these. Again, amazing support within our community, but this is what Detroit's all about, working hard, showing that resilience, and showing that we are the best or maybe forefronts in the medical field.
Thinking forward,
Yeah, nobody else has this. It's the first time ever that we're addressing this receptor, and it doesn't exist anywhere else in the world.
It is amazing. Thank you so much for sharing this. I'm going to keep it all.
No, please do. I would love for a real try for all of them.
Okay, so people can reach out to you.
Yes, you could follow us on Instagram at Keto Clinic MD. You could follow us on our website. We always update it at ketoclinic.com. And then you could purchase our creams at ketocream.com as well.
Okay, thank you. It was such a pleasure.
It was such a pleasure,
and
too.
I can't wait to just slather all this on. That's what I'm like hoarding it now. Thank you.
Thank you.
And that is Dr. Rachel Cato, of course, from the Cato Clinic in Bloomfield Hills. Well, thank you for being with us today. This is the 40th episode of Caffeinated Conversations. I'm Brooke Allen. This is not the only show we do. We also have an After Dark show, which is a little different because it's live from breweries and bars with two different goals. It's an opportunity for us to raise awareness and money for Mothers Against Drunk Driving, also to talk about relationships. And our next guest knows all about issues in relationships. Jessica Wall is a divorce attorney. And Jessica, you've written a book called The Wise Divorce. And when I hear the word wise, I kind of think, you know, it's hard to be wise about divorce.
Right.
Really, isn't
Yes,
it? I mean,
that's so
because
true.
there's so many issues involved.
Yes, absolutely. So The Wise Divorce was written for that very reason, because it's daunting to think about getting divorced. It's scary. It's treading in unknown waters, if you will. So the book really simplifies divorce, and it's based on my 30 years of experience as a divorce attorney. It's broken down to simple, common sense. It's very approachable. It's quick. It's a quick read. Every chapter gives you at least 6 tips on how to make a situation better, from telling your children about divorce to making the journey easier for you and your spouse, you know, the do's and don'ts kind of thing.
You know, and the do's and don'ts, because if you're thinking about such a decision as big as divorce, I mean, you do really need to make a list of pros and cons probably, because there's so much more involved than you would ever expect.
Right. So I think it's really smart when you have the courage to finally say, okay, I really need to examine this marriage and decide whether it's salvageable or not. So to start off with a do's and don'ts list is really good to do. And then you need to do a deep dive into things like, are you staying for your children? Are you staying because you fear change? Are you staying because you're afraid of how you're going to survive financially if you get divorced, right?
So, you know, we've heard the last couple of years, I think, because of COVID and everything else, that people are not getting divorced because of the financial aspect.
Right. I think COVID, that went both ways. I think some people, when they had to shelter in place with their spouse, they realized they couldn't handle it the same as they could when both parties went off to work,
right?
That kind of thing, right? So they're under the same roof. Some couples found that they found a new, way to move forward and solve some of their problems.
Like a new connection
A new connection,
right?
like partnership, like we're in this together, it's a scary time. How are we going to shelter in place the most effective way? So that's been good. And some people were affected financially by COVID, so yes, they would think twice about getting divorced because there is expense involved in that, right? So
when it comes to kids, and I know you're very focused on kids.
Yes.
And you, that is like one of your main things as far as both parents should be there when you tell them. I mean, there's a lot that goes into telling kids about divorce, but not only just telling them, but actually helping them through the process.
That's true. So I think one thing you have to do is always remain child-centric. That is something that I'm a big advocate of. I mean, if you make all decisions with your children in mind, and every decision's made from the perspective of what's going to be in your children's best interest, you're ahead of the game right there. I mean, it shows some restraint, but once you have children, it's not about you, right? You come second to them.
Right.
You know, I mean, they're innocent bystanders of a divorce, so you want to keep them out of the divorce. And I think it's important, if you can, you make the decision, you and your spouse agree that you're going to tell your children together, and make sure they know that it's not about
them, right? Because
Yes.
that's a huge thing. I think
Right.
that even as kids get older, and even if their parents say they're getting divorced when they're in college or even adults, there's still that grief.
Of course.
Right.
I mean, you're even in college or beyond, I mean, your home base is still your home base. And when that gets, you know, torn apart, then you're going to feel it because you don't have that anymore. Maybe you take it for granted when you're a bit older, but it's just often is devastating for older children of divorce, for sure.
So as far as being wise, you know, you said the pros and cons list, to tell the kids together, to keep focused on the kids, but what if there's a lot of animosity involved in this?
So I think that's, there is often a lot of animosity, let's face it. I mean, I can make it sound like rainbows and butterflies, but it's not often the
Right.
case, right? So then I think you have to be responsible for you. You can't make decisions with regard to how your spouse is going to act. If your spouse won't tell your kids together as a unified front, for instance, you're still going to go forward with the same messaging. You love them. It's not about them. They're not the reason for this. You know, that kind of thing. You're going to pick your battles. I mean, if you're dealing with a toxic spouse, which a lot of people are, then you don't want to ride that roller coaster with them.
Right.
You know, you want to wait till, you know, if they're really, you know, feeling, you know, enraged, or you can see that you know their patterns and you know what's going on. You want to
You know
wait.
what to expect, right?
Yeah, you want to wait till cooler heads prevail. And divorce is a process. You know, you're not going to get from A to Z in like one sitting. It has a rhythm to it. You'll know the right time to have, you know, tough conversations, or
Right.
conversations about settlement, for instance. It's going to be when the time is right. Like all the cards are on the table. You see what there is to divide, and then that's the right moment that you're going to come in and try to settle your case.
And you have to kind of take the emotion out of a lot of it.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, the financial part, I mean, it's all tied together, and we all know that. But at the same time, when you're talking finances, it's kind of black and white sometimes, and it's just
Can
like,
be,
okay,
yeah.
let's just get it done and move on, right?
Yes, that would be smart. I mean, if you can look at it like your marital partnership, you're dissolving your partnership. If you can handle this in a business-like manner, that's going to be best for you, your emotions, and for your children, for sure.
So I think it's interesting. You say before you file for divorce, you should talk to at least 3 different attorneys.
Yeah, absolutely.
And why is that?
Because I think it's such a personal decision to get divorced, and it's a journey that is very personal, right? So you want someone in your corner that you really feel comfortable with, that has your best interest, that has your back. You know, so you want someone that matches your values. You want someone who's knowledgeable. You want someone who only specializes in divorce. There are attorneys out there that will do a mixed bag of things. They might do a little criminal, they might dabble in this, they might dabble in bankruptcy. No, you want someone who only practices family law. So by interviewing 3 people at least, you're going to arm yourself with knowledge, which is important. And then you're going to understand who you resonate, who seems
You really
like the
need
right
a
choice.
rapport with, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, honestly, you want
That's
to
well
feel
put.
comfortable with your attorney, because it is such a draining process.
Right, and you're going to share very personal information with that attorney. You know, they might at the end of it know you better than your best friend knows you.
Right.
So you want to make sure that you really feel you have someone in your corner that really knows what they're doing, but is also very approachable, right? That you can have this kind of conversation with and feel comfortable sharing, you know, intimate, sometimes embarrassing information with.
Right. And as far as the book, The Wise Divorce.
The Wise Divorce.
The Wise Divorce. Okay,
Yeah.
so it looks like an easy read. It looks short.
It is. It will fit in the back pocket of your jeans,
Right.
and you can probably read this in an hour and a half. And I guarantee you, after you read it, you will feel more comfortable, and you will feel that you are armed with knowledge to go forward with the process of divorce.
Where is that available? And who do you actually, let me ask you this real quick. Who is this book geared toward?
Anybody considering divorce, particularly people with children, minor children, it does have an emphasis on children and how to make each part of the process easier on your kids and then yourself, for that matter. You can buy this book on Amazon.
Okay, so Amazon, and we've got some copies here.
Yeah.
Am I getting one? Just to
Absolutely.
pass out?
Yep, I'll even sign it.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Well, listen, Jessica, thank you. It's a pleasure to see you. I know that, you've been doing this for 30 years. I'm sure you've seen some easy cases, some horrible cases.
Sure.
But at the end of the day, people have to make the best decision for them.
That's right, and I hope that this book will help people to do just that.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yep, thanks for having me.
And that is Jessica Wall, the author of The Wise Divorce, which is available on Amazon. Well, this is Caffeinated Conversations with Brooke Allen. Thank you so much for being with us, of course. School is right around the corner, and for our ABCs of education, tomorrow, very exciting. It is the 6th Annual Detroit Youth Summit. Their theme, Detroit is Home. And Maria Franklin is the Executive Director of Life Leaders. And Maria, first tell us what Life Leaders is.
Life Leaders is a workforce development nonprofit organization. We service 14 to 24-year-old youth in Detroit and in the surrounding suburbs.
So I was at an event of yours almost a year ago, and it was so interesting because some of the would you call them students? I mean, they seemed like they were all different ages, and they were speaking to everyone there, and they spoke so well, and you could just see their love of Detroit.
Yeah, those were our youth associates, and they've been with Life Leaders for the longest amount of time. They start with us when they're young, around 14, 15, and they have, transitioned with us. And many of them were in their 20s, their early 20s when you met them.
Okay.
And so they've been developed and groomed, and their responsibilities have become more advanced over time, and we just give them more and more to do so that
Awesome.
they can practice.
Yeah, they practice, they
yeah.
spread the word, and okay, so tomorrow is the 6th
Yes.
Detroit Youth Summit, right?
Yes.
Okay, so what is happening tomorrow?
So tomorrow, our youth in the 6th Annual Youth Summit is where youth and leaders build Detroit together. And so tomorrow they are going to host, moderate, and facilitate the whole summit. It's going to be done by Detroit youth, and they're going to welcome 250 of their peers from the city of Detroit to come and learn about opportunity that exists so that they can leverage the resources that exist in the city of Detroit to create their best futures and be a part of the growth that's taking place.
And this is kind of all of an effort to retain talent here, right?
Yes.
And to promote the community, and I mean, it's just I don't want to say, friendship is kind of what I saw at that event last year, but I mean, it's just amazing to see all of these youth come together and be advocates for the city.
Absolutely, and really what happens is we build little communities. That's what happens organically. The youth do establish friendships and relationships, and we become like family, and they stick together and they grow together and they build together, and they do transformative change together, and they really get ingrained in transformation that's taking place in the city, even from the neighborhood standpoint, going out and volunteering and being the change that they want to see in their communities, not just waiting for it to happen.
So 14 to 24, is that the age?
Yes.
Okay, so how do kids get involved in this?
So they can join us through Grow Detroit's Young Talent. In the summertime, we have a 120-hour, 6-week paid work experience for the youth to gain interpersonal professional skills. And an outcome of that is the summit. The youth love the program that's founded in theater that was developed by Amy Niederlander and Michaela Murphy.
Amy's here.
Amy's here.
Hi, Amy.
And it's just a place where, they get to learn about themselves, they get to learn about the city of Detroit and the history, so they know where they've come from, and to be able to have a clear path of where they're going. And it resonates with them, and they want to share it with others. And so that's where the Youth Summit came into play organically through youth voice, through listening to them and what they wanted. They wanted to give back. So we said, okay, let's produce this summit. You guys are going to do it. and ladies.
Right?
Yes, and you get to share everything that you learned, the opportunity that exists in the city of Detroit. You get to share it on a larger scale. You get to practice your leadership skills.
And how important is it for that peer-to-peer input, so to speak?
It's important because we want them to have a voice at the table, especially regarding their future. So a lot of people are always adults are at tables making decisions that affect youth in their future without them.
Right.
So we
I
are
hear that from my
creating
twins
space.
all the time. Why did you make that decision?
And we just tell them what's going to happen. But now in this space, youth voice is what's most important, and it's value. Their perspective is value. They come with lived experiences, even at a young age, and they can tell us from the ground, on the ground, boots on the ground, what's happening to them. What are their needs? What are their challenges? What are their aspirations? What are they, how do they want to move forward? What kind of life? What do they want the world to look like in the future? And so they when they take part in that, from an intergenerational standpoint of young all the way to older, more experienced people that have Rolodexes and can pour into them, then the outcome is always greater. It's most productive.
So how proud are you of this organization?
So proud of this organization. I used to teach nutrition in high schools for over 10 years. And I was always trying to help people to learn how to build a perfect plate, and the young people. And many of the young people that I served were trying to, I realized they needed to find a plate. They weren't in the position to be able to build a perfect plate. And when I looked at my own life and I said, what is it that helped me to pull myself out of poverty? It was mentorship, it was training, and it was being held accountable, and opportunities being opened up. And from there, that's the type of empowerment that Life Leaders provides for young people, so that they can position themselves, because the power is already inside of them, to be able to make choices to build a perfect plate in the future, and even beyond that, to build a world that's better and brighter.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to hear how tomorrow goes. I know it will be exciting. And so kids can reach out, parents can reach out too, as far as getting their kids involved in this?
Yes,
Life Leaders?
they can go on fueledbylife.org, and they can message us if they want to be involved in the program. They can come to the summit. It's tomorrow, from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. at Wayne County Community College District in downtown Detroit.
Oh, so people can still come?
They can still come.
Okay.
They can still go on there and register. It's free to attend. We're going to be giving away lots of fun prizes, $3,000 in scholarships to the youth that are in attendance. We're going to have a featured session on voting, what we call practicing at the polls, which is important for this time and place that we're in the world. And people can go there and practice, especially first-time voters of any age. It's open. That part is open to the public too.
Okay. What time will that? Do you have an idea?
And that'll be from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m.
Okay.
And we're partnering with the Michigan Department of State, vote writers, turn up, turn out, to be able to remove barriers, whether it be whether you need ID or whether you need to be registered to vote. We're helping to remove all those barriers with resources so that people can go in confidently and exercise their right to vote.
That is amazing. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to finally meet you.
It's a pleasure to meet you as
So
well.
thank you so much. I hope that tomorrow goes well, and you never know who might show up.
Thank you.
Are 12-year-old twins too young?
Bring them.
Can I bring them? Okay,
Yes,
I'm bringing them.
absolutely.
I'm bringing them. Thank you so much. A pleasure. That is Maria Franklin. She is the Executive Director of Life Leaders. Well, this is Caffeinated Conversations with Brooke Allen. We are broadcasting live from the My Michigan TV studios in Troy, Michigan. I'm Brooke Allen. This is a show where we brew up topics from a woman's point of view, and honestly, whether you're a man or a woman, one thing that can be very confusing is insurance, all aspects of it, whether it be home, auto, or life insurance. Well, Lynn Sterla with the Michigan Farm Bureau Insurance Agency can help you sort all of that out. Instead of living with the worry about things you can't control, you can call Lynn and she'll actually take you step by step to figure out what coverage you need or don't need. She'll put together an affordable plan that will give you exactly the coverage you need, whether it's home, auto, or life insurance. You can reach out to Lynn at lynnsterlainsurance.com. Well, each month we feature a nonprofit, and this month's Caffeinated Act of Kindness is Volunteers of America Michigan. They have outreach programs for families, seniors, and veterans. We do want to give you a heads up. We will be talking about their SERVE program, which is their suicide prevention engagement and referral program for veterans. Zach Stowe, you are the SERVE program manager, and this is a very important outreach program.
Yes. Hi.
Hi.
Thank you for having me on.
Oh, no, thank you for being with us. So tell me what SERVE stands for.
So, suicide prevention, engagement, and referral for veterans. It's a little bit of a mouthful, but basically we help veterans. We are in a crisis unit. We are in a crisis response, but we keep them stable. Veterans who might have gone down the path of suicide ideations before, or who might be going down that path, anyone who might be struggling and is a veteran, we offer case management to connect them with the VA or connect them with other resources that might help them out. We have peer supports who are veterans who have also been dealt with suicidal ideations in the past, who are just someone there for that veteran to talk with someone who's been in that spot before, kind of someone to relate to. And then we offer third-party payments to kind of help them out with things that might reduce their risk of taking their own lives, such as if the veteran's struggling because they can't work because they can't pay for childcare, we can help that veteran pay for childcare.
Oh, so veterans, they have a unique situation, and it seems like the peer-to-peer program, or talking to someone else who has gone through the same thing they have, whether it's PTSD. I mean, there's so many things that can affect them, and it seems like this program is geared toward them specifically,
Yes.
and so a great help.
Yes, absolutely. We have 3 peer support specialists currently. They all have different life experience with their struggles, and they're able to connect with them on that basis and be a sounding board. We had one that just needed someone to go play euchre with them at the euchre night, and the peer support would go play euchre with them.
And it is all about that connection, right?
Yes, yes.
So Volunteers of America, Michigan, you guys serve how many counties throughout the state?
18.
Okay, so 18 counties.
Yes.
The SERVE program, is that in each county, or is that?
So the SERVE program covers 18 counties.
It does cover the 18 counties, okay. And so just in general, for Volunteers of America, Michigan, if somebody had never heard of you before,
Right.
what would you want them to know?
We're Michigan's largest nonprofit for helping veterans. We offer housing help and a few other services as well as our suicide prevention program.
And people can just reach out to you, and the other thing too is that you connect them to resources.
Yes.
And that's a big deal, because a lot of people don't know where to even start.
Yes.
And so you guys are a good starting point.
Yes, we are connected throughout the state. We connect them through to what they need. Volunteers of America, Michigan as a whole, and our program is the case managers. They identify what that veteran needs to help get them back on the path of mental health recovery and connect them to those resources.
Well, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. And of course, anyone can call 988, right?
Yes.
That is the line. So 988, and then they dial 1 for veterans,
Yes,
right?
so that's for veterans in crisis.
Okay, so veterans in crisis, and of course, anyone can reach out to you.
Yes.
In general, if they need help.
Yes.
Okay.
Correct. At 877-509-VETS, and then we're option 1.
You're option 1.
Yes.
Got it. Thank you.
Yes, of course. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And that is Zach Stowe, the SERVE program manager. And VOAMI is actually celebrating National Thrift Day at all of their 6 stores throughout the state. But a big celebration is happening at their Westland location with extended hours. They'll have raffles. Also, all items 25% off to add to the festivities. There will even be free popcorn, candy, and drinks. That starts at 9 a.m. They do have extended hours on Saturday, the 17th, 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. You can also drop off clothing and household donations 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. as well, and you can find all of that information at voami.org, and that big sale is happening on Saturday. It is time for our Great Lakes Made segment, and this is a tasty one. Ann Michelle Householder is the founder of the Cookie Batch, and Ann, you are celebrating 20 years in business.
I am. Just a few weeks, it'll be 20 years. It went by a little too quickly.
Did it?
I don't feel like it's been 20 years, but my children were small, and
right, and now they're not,
adults.
right?
Exactly.
How does that happen?
I don't know. Lots of cookies.
Lots of cookies.
I don't know.
So speaking of cookies, so you are amazing. You actually did our cookies for the After Dark show a couple weeks ago. They were so tasty.
Oh, thank you.
But these, I mean, who doesn't love a good cookie with coffee cup on it? And of course, my logo. Thank you so much. So, I mean, you do big orders.
Yes. We do everything from 6 cookies to thousands of cookies. We just like to do different things, make it interesting.
Right.
We do corporate orders. We ship all over the country. In my previous life, I was an architect.
Oh.
And so when I had the kids, we didn't have any family out here. And so I wanted to stay home just to be with them. I tried to send them to daycare.
Right.
And I'm like, you're too cute. I need to stay with you.
I need to be with you always.
Exactly. And so, but I don't really sit still well.
Okay.
my family growing up owned a catering company, so I knew that I would be able to kind of turn it into a career, and I just took off from there.
Wow.
I started just doing regular cookies and desserts and things like that for busy parents, but then I ended up getting into the more specialized things where it's just logos and pretty much anything you want a cookie to look like.
Right.
We try to make it look
I mean, you
like
do
that.
the wedding showers, the bride, I mean, you do everything.
I try to.
You try,
I
right?
try.
So, okay, you said corporate, so I guess that means that any corporation, if they wanted a personalized cookie to send out, they
Absolutely.
could do, right?
We've done tons. We do a lot of work in DC.
Okay.
We do a lot of work in New York. Just all kinds of logos. We've worked with MTV. We've worked with David's Bridal.
That's
We've
awesome.
worked with, different companies like that because the internet makes it so much more accessible.
Right.
So I don't have to stay just to
Just
one
local,
area.
right?
Exactly. I
Okay,
can
so we
ship all
talked
over.
about something before you came on, and it was so interesting because the After Dark show, when you did our cookies, I actually did not get a cookie.
Well, hopefully you'll get one
I
today.
know, right? So I'm putting this one in my pocket. But it was so funny because they're so beautiful, and people just love them. I mean, it's a good swag
It
thing,
is,
right?
it
I
is.
mean, honestly, let's face it. So, but it's so funny because you have said that people tend to just grab a whole bunch of
They
them.
do. I don't know if it's the bow. I don't know what it is, but people will take them and put them in their purse,
Right.
and there'll be a whole table of desserts, and they'll
They
eat
want
the
the
other
cookies.
ones. They take the cookies
Yes.
home with them. I have a couple of people who we had done some pictures like throughout their lives for an anniversary kind of thing, and I've had people call me and say that their mother, their sister, it's been 5 years, and they still have them in a jar because
Really?
they were pictures of.
Because they were special.
Exactly.
Right? I mean, these are more than cookies, let's face it. These are, I mean, they're a memory, they're branding, there's so much.
They do. They're so much fun, and it gives me something interesting to do, and I also still get to be creative. I get to build things. I
Right.
get to, and I like to
There's
work
the
with people.
architect in you coming out,
That's
right?
exactly what it is. Exactly.
Okay, so the cookie batch, you are accessible on Instagram, right?
Instagram at the Cookie Batch, also Facebook, the Cookie Batch. You can email us at thechef@thecookiebatch.com, or you can visit the website at thecookiebatch.com.
Okay, oh, and there's your QR code right there. And what is your turnaround time?
Generally, it depends on the size of the order. Nothing exists. So everything is made fresh and custom for you. We like to have a couple of weeks, but if it's a smaller order, we can sometimes get it in a little quicker. Obviously, at holiday time and graduation time, people will book out 3, 4, 5
Okay,
months
so
in
actually,
advance.
even though we're in August, if somebody was thinking of the holidays,
Yes, especially a corporate order or
Okay.
something, definitely reach out. We do Christmas Con, which is a convention for all things Christmas and Hallmark movies
Right.
in New Jersey. We've done it for a couple of years, and so we march about over 2,000 little gingerbread men out the
Really?
door for them. I mean, and they,
awesome.
so everything's already booked in.
Okay.
And we like to give everything the same amount of attention to be made fresh.
well,
so.
you know, they're beautiful, and I know they're tasty. I've heard they're tasty. I'm about to find out.
Save one, save one.
But thank you so much for doing those cookies for us, and a pleasure to meet you. And get those holiday cookie orders in, right?
Yep.
All right, thank you. And that is Ann Michelle Householder. She is the owner of the Cookie Batch. Of course, if you do have a special occasion and are thinking cookies, look no further than the Cookie Batch. You can find her on Instagram. This is Caffeinated Conversations with Brooke Allen. I'm Brooke Allen, and even though we are inching ever so closer to the end of summer, there are still plenty of days and ways to celebrate Michigan with camping, but you want to do it responsibly. I had a chance to talk to Tim Novak. He is the State Trails Coordinator with the Michigan DNR and says, recreate responsibly. Let's watch.
Recreate Responsibly is our campaign to teach people about etiquette when it comes to recreation. So what's appropriate for your campsite, how to keep your campsite clean and safe, and if you're enjoying any type of recreation, how to be conscientious of the people that are around you. So not playing your music really loud, not leaving, bringing glass bottles onto the beach. It's an entire etiquette campaign that's really focused on teaching people how to be good stewards of our natural resources and how to be conscientious of the people around you when you're recreating in the state of Michigan.
And again, that was Tim Novak, the state trail coordinator with the Michigan DNR. Of course, there are more than 13,000 miles of state designated trails and pathways. Well, if you don't happen to hike or camp, perhaps you enjoy a good movie. And now there have been a ton of movies out there. Imagine is a Midwestern company with a special passion for giving back to the communities in which they operate. Of course, Paul Glantz is the co-founder and president of Imagine Entertainment. And Paul, he is sitting right next to me. I am so excited. I've seen you a lot lately.
You have. Well, terrific. Glad to host you.
Yes, thank you so much. So Imagine Entertainment, I mean, it is so much more than a movie theater.
Well, we're certainly trying. You know, it's been a process over many years of trying to continually enhance the movie-going experience, and that's what our team is striving to do every single day.
And you are not just in Michigan.
No, we've actually expanded our footprint. We have theaters in Wisconsin, Indiana, Illinois, and Minnesota.
That is amazing. And you know, so it's so funny because you are more than a movie theater, because I know there's bowling available for the adult night out. Of course, you can go to the movies and actually get a drink, right? I mean,
yes.
it's quite the experience now, and just seeing it change throughout the years, how does that make you feel?
Well, I think we've been on the cutting edge in many respects because, honestly, we've been serving adult beverages since 1998. We brought bowling to the market along with movies in 2011. We were the first in the world to do all digital projection, going back to 2005. And so we're fond of being the first.
And so the idea of, I mean, you have a podcast studio.
We do.
You have that one at the Palladium in Birmingham,
Yes.
right? Okay, so that is beautiful. I've seen pictures of it. So people can actually come and rent that out and do their shows there, right?
They can, and so we hope you'll come join us one of these
thank
days.
you. I appreciate that. But also something I found interesting is that you do dementia-friendly screenings,
Yes,
right?
we have dementia-friendly screenings. We have sensory-friendly screenings for children that are on the autism spectrum. We have open caption films for people who are hard of hearing or deaf. And so it's about serving the entire community, not just those of us who have those, don't have those particular handicaps. We all have handicaps, but we think it's important to give back and to serve every market. In fact, it's fascinating. People say to me, "Oh, I wish you would show classic films." We show a lot of classic films. You know, and we have a curated program called Flashback Cinema, but the dementia-friendly films are really special because we turn up the lights a little bit. We're not worried about if you make a little noise or perhaps disrupt others. And we're showing classic films that are designed to enhance your cognitive abilities. And you'll recall things from, an earlier age.
Right.
And I think it's really a good program.
And you know, what's interesting about that too is that not even for the patient with dementia that's at the movies, but also their caregiver.
Absolutely.
Whoever is taking care of them, that gives them kind of a break to go out there and enjoy a movie and just kind of take a breath.
Absolutely. So what we're in the business of doing is bringing joy to our audiences, whether you're full functioning or whether you've got some limitations. And so to the extent that we can bring joy to people of all walks of life, then we're fulfilling our mission.
Yeah, and you are such a community player, right? I've seen you at so many events lately, but it's so interesting because you guys at Imagine Entertainment really do give back to the communities that you serve. It's
one of our core values. And we've got a terrific CEO, and Anthony Laverde. He runs the show, and so I get to do just fun stuff like this these days.
And you get to match me.
Absolutely.
So
How about that?
And you have a new reward program. I love that.
We do.
And of course, throughout the summer, I think it's through August 22nd, you're doing the Summer Kids Series.
We
right?
are, yes. So something for everyone, hopefully.
There's something for everyone. So I just, I really enjoy Imagine Theaters. I enjoy seeing you every time. So thank you so much for coming in. Of course, how many theaters do you have in Michigan?
Well, we've got 11 in Michigan.
Okay.
And I'm responsible for 16 in total.
Okay.
And then we've got a licensee that operates theaters predominantly in Minnesota.
Okay, so Minnesota, but then you also host events, you do kid birthday parties.
Yes.
People can rent the theaters individually. I mean, there's just so much. And I honestly did not know that until I started doing all the research over the weekend.
Well, in fact, I wanted to offer your viewers and your listeners something today.
Oh.
We have a screening room package where you could enjoy up to 20 seats. You can pick the time and date with our coordination. And so if you have folks who would like to win that package, think about how that could play into what you're doing today.
Do I qualify? No, I'm just kidding.
You might.
Well,
You and 19 of your closest friends.
Yes, exactly, right? Now just gather all the kids. Thank you so much, Paul. I appreciate that. That's so fun. And, we just love going to the movies. And $5 tickets on Tuesdays.
Hard to beat that.
Nope.
And if you're a rewards member, you get free popcorn with it.
See, you can't beat that at
No,
all.
it's a pretty good value.
deal. Yeah, it's a good value. It's great entertainment, and I always appreciate seeing you. So thank you so much for spending some time with us this morning.
It's my pleasure, Brooke. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Paul. And again, that is Paul Glanch, the president and co-founder of Imagine Entertainment. Well, today is the 40th episode of Caffeinated Conversations with Brooke Allen. Woo, woo! The show kicked off live November 13th at Blue Hat Coffee Gallery in downtown Farmington. Philip Jewell is the co-founder, also our Coffee of the Day sponsor. And Philip, you had not even opened when you opened the doors for us back in November.
That's right. We were 2 weeks from opening. So
Yes.
you were there the first 2 weeks. We were not even open.
Nope, you were not.
The third week you were there, we were actually
Yes,
open.
that was like your grand opening,
That was our
right?
grand opening.
That was your
Yeah,
grand
Brooke
opening.
showed up and we opened.
I was like, whoa, thanks, Philip. Well, listen, I appreciate all that you've done, and I've got your first coffee
yeah.
cup. Super excited about
Yeah.
this.
Now, it's all about merch now.
It is, right?
That's right. Yeah. So we're
all
doing
it-
T-shirts and cups and
You're getting it done.
tumblers. Oh, I'm the merch man.
You are the merch man. You're not only the merch man, you're also the bakery man.
That's
So
Yes,
you
that's
kind of do it all there.
yes. Baking is my weekend job now.
Okay. So you're doing that on the weekends. And for anyone, you've been open since November. You make your own syrups.
Make our own syrups. We roast our own coffee. We bake everything that we sell.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And it's all about quality.
It is all about quality. And the one thing I love too is, of course, your hours, because you're open from
6:30 a.m. to 8:30 p.m.
Yes.
7 days a week.
You look a little tired. You okay?
That's because I was there late last night doing cash drawers.
Oh, well, see, you truly do it all, and I appreciate you so much. And of course, you're doing gluten-free items now.
We're doing gluten-free, and we have one vegan item, and we have gluten-free bread for sandwiches.
Okay, and you do have lunch. You have sandwiches.
We
You've
have
got
sandwiches.
scones.
We have gluten-free bread for sandwiches. We have turkey, ham, several different items.
You have corned beef, don't
Corned
you?
beef, yeah. And
Corned beef
that's what
is
I get
the
to go and do
best.
today
Oh, okay.
take that gigantic corned beef, put it on the stove, and cook it for 5 hours.
You got this.
I got it down.
You got this. Have some coffee. It'll keep you going.
Okay.
And of course, your matcha is great. It's my favorite.
Yeah, the matcha is excellent. We have a tea supplier that's amazing.
Yeah.
He was a plantation. He ran plantations for 15 years, and he knows his teas.
Yeah,
so we
it's
have really
excellent.
good teas.
Okay, so you know what, Philip, thank you so much. Of course, the gallery part comes in. You have jewelry there that your wife makes.
Right, we have jewelry, and we're moving the jewelry case to be a little bit more
she got-
accessible.
she got her way.
Yeah,
Catherine got her way.
She got to me.
Okay.
And then we have our art on the walls, and we sell those, and then we have posters.
Yes, it's a beautiful place for anyone who's never been there. Downtown Farmington, right on the corner of
Grand River and Farmington Road.
All right, there it
in
is.
the old Masonic Hall. It's a nice space. It's about 3,500 square
Yeah,
feet.
it's a beautiful space. And as always, Philip, I appreciate you so much. Thank you for supplying my coffee and my new cup.
Okay, you're welcome.
So that is Philip Jewell. Of course, he is the co-founder of Blue Hat Coffee Gallery in downtown Farmington. Go and say hi to them. They're open 6:30 to 8:30 every day. Well, someone else that has been with us since the very beginning, actually before we even kicked off, is Jason. He is the co-owner, I can't even talk now, of Time Warp Vintage in St. Clair Shores. And Jason, how much fun have we been having?
Sorry, I had to run over.
We've been having so much fun since the show kicked off.
I can't believe it's 40.
I know, isn't that crazy? It is so crazy. But thank you. Of course, you and Steve, your husband, own Time Warp Vintage
do.
in St. Clair Shores. Been one of our sponsors since the very beginning, so I'm super grateful for that. We have switched up how we do our giveaways. We have gone to once a month because we wanted it to be bigger and better. And so you have a hint as to what,
do.
where it's so beautiful.
Well, of course, it's August.
It is August.
And it's car month.
It is
I like
here,
to say car
yes.
month, even though it's car month every month
Right,
in Michigan.
yeah.
But with Woodward Cruise and everything coming up, this is a hint to our giveaway. It's
yes,
not
and
the
that's
only
that's
thing.
not the only thing. That's just one item.
Right, that's just one item, and I mean that's pretty cool. Look
Yeah.
at that. It's
Oh,
still
I know.
never
My
been
kids
touched.
were trying to talk
Right?
me out of that. I said no,
So
absolutely
this
not.
is just one of
Yes.
the many items that are going to be this.
And
so.
that was actually donated from the Troy Traffic Jam, which
Yep.
we were at last week. This weekend, of course, is the Woodward Dream Cruise.
Correct.
And then after that, we've got
Next
Hot Wheels.
weekend's Hot Wheels.
Crazy times, man.
So August is definitely the car month. So
it is. So here it
it's
is.
appropriate
Here's
for
our hint.
this.
Okay, so how do people enter?
So you can go on the social medias, both Instagram and Facebook. Instagram, Brooke Allen Official, and Facebook, Caffeinated Conversations. And as you can see on the screen, you want to go in and you want to, underneath the giveaway, this post that you see right now, and you're going to want to comment. You're going to want to tag 3 friends in it. You're going to want to share the post and then like our page. And we can see all of that happen from the behind the scenes.
Yeah, we can see it all.
So we've already got several
Excellent.
entries. So
And they've got some time.
They've got some time. We're doing it on the 9th because that's the
Labor
first
Day
Monday
and-
back. And we wanted to announce it live, but we'll let you know before that
Yes,
probably.
for sure. But it's a cool, there's so many cool things involved. So please do that. This too can be yours.
And many other things.
And many other things. So yeah.
And I got to tell you, I'm excited because I didn't get any cookies either
Oh, well,
at the night before.
They're already
At
gone.
the after, no, they're over there. But at the after dark, so I'm excited about trying
Oh,
those
see,
too.
we can try. Okay,
I
well,
know.
yes, and thank you to everyone who came, and of course, thank you to all of you that watch and listen every Monday. A big thank you to My Michigan TV in Troy, to Jared in the control room, and of course, David back there, Chris and Jerry and their entire team, and Dave Scott. Thank you to Erin, who's been with us all summer producing for us, and her daughter Beatrice, and of course to Jason and Steve and all of our other amazing sponsors. Next week, it is our back to school show. We'll see you next week, and temps seem to be cooling down, so I am thinking maybe time for a pumpkin spice latte. We'll see you next week. Thanks so much. This has been our 40th episode. Have a great week. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.